we'll shift our focus back to politics.
Yes, and a quick look at the market. The market now up and up quite handsomely, back up about 0.5% each in the mainland indices.
Just a few minutes ago, they were below 8,500. Now they're closer to 8,600 in that sense.
Yeah. Well, what impact will the Delhi election outcome have on national politics and budget making? We ask A-K Bhattacharya, editor of Business Standard, who joins us now. AKB, thanks for joining us and sorry for having kept you waiting. Two questions actually the markets are asking. One is, will the government now go into an economic or reform funk after the election results? Will they get nervous about going on with economic reforms? And two, even if they keep up their reform mojo, will the defeat set them back a lot in the Rajya Sabha? So does that change things drastically? So these are the two questions, two concerns that the market have perhaps.
Sure. Well, I don't think your concerns about economic policy making being impacted at the center by what has happened in Delhi is those concerns are slightly exaggerated. Because I do believe that Delhi's election results have a tremendously significant political message for the BJP leadership. But as far as the government's economic policy making is concerned, that actually will get a boost in terms of coming out with a package of measures that are reformist and that can actually take the economy forward and revive growth and probably look at how consumer demand can be revived through measures that can be achieved to some extent by fiscal consolidation, which will actually spur the Reserve Bank of India to cut interest rates, and therefore the disposable income with people and consumers will be split a little more, so that the economic policy making I don't think is affected. But political packaging, political situation in the BJP will definitely undergo a big review, and I think the party leadership will have to look at the reasons why they went wrong in Delhi. It was an important election for them. It was clearly a consolidation of anti-BJP votes that got together. Look at the vote share, how the AAP has cornered almost all the Congress vote share. From the Congress vote share is down from 24% to almost 9%, whereas AAP's vote share has gone up from 30% to around 54%. So it's a consolidation of the anti-BJP vote, which BJP should be concerned. And if this spreads to other states and smaller towns and cities, particularly in a place like Goa, my sense is that the BJP leadership will be a little worried. So on economic policy front, I don't see much of a concern, but on political calculations, BJP should be concerned.
So what went wrong in your assessment? What went wrong, AKB?
Well, if you look back, the way and manner in which the BJP looked at Delhi elections, the problem began very early at around June and July. The BJP's the confidence level among the BJP voters were very high, but I think the BJP tried to experiment with other options like forming a government even with a minority support or a minority strength in the Delhi Assembly. And I think those experiments did not go down well with either the political classes or the other parties or with the people. And with time passing and the general disenchantment with the BJP over delayed arrival of the so-called Achhe Din must have upset the Aam Aadmi of Delhi, the so-called underclasses of Delhi, and with Aam Aadmi Party consolidating its battle against the BJP as an organization, I think has worked wonders for the AAP. And also consider that the BJP's approach to get outsiders into the party and hoping that they will be able to deliver results has actually boomeranged and hasn't stood in good stead for the party. So I think a combination of factors that must have gone against BJP's calculations, whereas AAP was completely focused on its goals, on its targets, and worked on fielding candidates with a due process. and talked about issues that mattered to people in Delhi, whereas BJP was not talking about issues in specific terms, but AAP was talking issues in specific terms. They're talking about even in terms of reducing VAT rate, which took away, in my view, a large chunk of the BJP's vote bank, which is the trading community. They must have voted in favor of our party. And they also talked about, of course, the populist measures like water and power tariffs. Now, whether they can be implemented and those promises can be fulfilled in reality is a different matter. But when it comes to campaigning and getting the party and the people to vote for them, I think AAP scored convincingly in this election.
What does this mean for the BJP strength in the Rajya Sabha? Of course, we know. And what does it mean for the ability now?
Not much.
Yes.
Not much, Senthil. There are only 2 seats in Rajya Sabha that Delhi sends. So it is only if anything, BJP's numbers in the Rajya Sabha will be prospectively affected by only 2 seats. So I don't see it doesn't affect BJP's lawmaking abilities at the center right now. But as I said, going forward, if this movement spreads and if the disenchantment with the BJP's ability to deliver goods and bring about the promised Achhe Din, that continues, that will be a kind of a danger that the BJP party leadership at the center must have to contend with.
There are some big elections coming up this year, AKB. I'm just curious as to why you think that this will not have an impact on the economic policy making. For instance, if the same sentiment plays out in the Bihar elections, for instance, in advance of that, don't you think that the central government will say, look, how can we do, what measures can we take that gives the Aam Aadmi the sense that Achhe Din are here, or that they are in fact experiencing Achhe Din? Now, on the one hand, that could mean populist measures. On the other hand, that could mean some pretty big, bold moves as well in the budget. So, just if you could explain to us your rationale for why you think the budget-making exercise will not get impacted by this.
I will tell you why I say that is because even without these election results, my understanding was the manner in which this budget was being prepared was essential to look at how, in what way consumer demand can be revived, how the tax rate can be rationalized in a manner that people have more disposable income with them. Because if you look at the government's dilemma right now, that the investment demand is not picking up because of a variety of factors, variety of policy bottlenecks. The infrastructure sector has not yet taken off. Your coal sector imbroglio has not been handled. So therefore, the way forward for this government in this budget would have been to see and take measures that revives consumer demand. And that would have required some policy measures on the taxation front by which people would have felt that they have got more money in their hands. And if you had stuck to the path of fiscal consolidation, that would have strengthened the hands of the RBI governor to reduce rates further. Now that would have given the EMIs would have come down. So therefore, I would have looked at this budget in any case, trying to take measures by which consumption demand is revived, so that the economic growth gets a fillip.
But AKB, sorry to interrupt you, but so many people are now talking about how the government could go about, getting public spending to lead private sector spending. And, that could mean a big infrastructure push. So I think that's the final question. Are you saying then that, the economics of the day and not necessarily the politics of the day is going to be about reviving consumption spending and not investment spending in this budget? Is that what you're picking up from this government's position?
Well, I think you are absolutely right. I think investment demand, through public investment spurt, can lead to a lot of inefficiencies. And I also I'm not too sure whether how much money can actually be carved out of whatever public sector surpluses are there for the government to exploit. So therefore, a more sensible and more correct approach would be to take taxation policy to revive consumption demand so that the government can actually see some growth impetus in the economy going forward.
A.K. thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure to talk to you.